In the previous chapter, we saw Ye Lin unleash his ultimate move, burning his own soul to summon a massive dragon of golden flames. His unshakable resolve to win, even at the cost of his soul, showcased the depth of his desperation and determination. Meanwhile, Zhuo Fan stood firm, ready to face the terrifying attack. Let's begin the chapter. Ye Lin stood amidst golden, scorching flames, their heat raging wildly and consuming everything in sight. The overwhelming power, dangerous and untamed, erupted sporadically, scorching the lush greenery of the valley. Far in the distance, disciples from the demon-scheming sect and the ultimate clarity sect had retreated, finding safety 4 miles away. Yet even from this considerable distance, they couldn't tear their eyes away from the grand, fierce battle unfolding before them. Despite their safe vantage point, the intense heat reached them, forcing sweat to bead on their foreheads before evaporating in an instant. These disciples were no ordinary individuals. They were the elite of their respective generations. However, one exception stood out. Yue, a third-layer radiant stage cultivator who had to fall back an astonishing 40 miles to escape the unbearable heat. Even so, every one of them found it difficult to endure the oppressive waves of heat, each moment making them feel as though they were mere seconds away from being obliterated. In the center of this chaos stood Ye Lin, his soul aflame. The decimating dragon ancestor's golden flames, already unimaginably powerful, had reached an entirely new level of devastation. It was a force that could erase anything in its path. Even those watching through various magical screens felt the terrifying aura radiating outward, as though it was reaching out to consume them. The exalted members of the audience, each a figure of immense power and prestige, rose from their seats in shock. Worry flickered in their eyes. Could Zhuo Fan possibly withstand such an overwhelming strike? Although they had vowed not to interfere, the sheer magnitude of the power being unleashed made them question their decision. If Zhuo Fan's life were to be truly endangered, they might have no choice but to step in. Chu Ching and the others clasped their hands tightly, their brows furrowed with deep concern for Zhuo Fan. They stood frozen, torn between hope and despair, praying for his safety in this seemingly impossible battle. As the flames raged closer, Zhuo Fan stood resolute, enveloped in thick, black energy. The heaven-devouring demonic dragon king coiled around him, its massive form acting as a shield, while the demon transformation art worked tirelessly to refine the surrounding heat. Despite his best efforts, Zhuo Fan's gaze trembled slightly, a rare sign of unease on his usually composed face. Yet even as the flames closed in, his focus remained unwavering. Behind him, Qiaoer stood, her presence shielded by the immense protection of Zhuo Fan's dragon soul. "Qiaoer," Zhuo Fan said, his voice firm yet tinged with urgency. "This is likely the final clash that will decide everything. I'll need your help at the start, but after that, you must leave immediately. Do you understand? Leave the rest to me." "Yes, father," Qiaoer replied with a determined nod, though her eyes betrayed hesitation. She understood the gravity of the situation, but the thought of leaving her father alone weighed heavily on her. Zhuo Fan, however, remained oblivious to her internal struggle. His focus was locked solely on Ye Lin, analyzing his opponent's every move. This must be his last-ditch effort, Zhuo Fan thought. If I can survive this, victory will be mine. Determination hardened his expression as he began forming intricate hand seals, preparing for the imminent clash. Ye Lin, on the other hand, was equally resolute. His breathing was labored, his body strained to its limits, yet his eyes burned, with an unrelenting thirst for victory. In a battle between sacred beast inheritors, there can only be one victor, Ye Lin declared, and it will be me. With a roar that seemed to shake the heavens themselves, Ye Lin unleashed his ultimate attack. "Zhuo Fan, you and that pet of yours, take this, Decimating Dragon Roar!" The massive dragon image encircling Ye Lin roared ferociously, its sound reverberating across the battlefield. The golden flames surged forward like a colossal flamethrower, their searing heat obliterating everything in their path. Zhuo Fan's heart sank as the sheer magnitude of the attack dawned on him. The exalted audience members froze in shock, their expressions grim as they witnessed the sheer destructiveness of Ye Lin's power. This was not an attack one could withstand lightly. Even seasoned experts would struggle against such concentrated force, let alone someone still in the radiant stage. Among the spectators, Danking Shen's hand twitched involuntarily. He nearly stepped forward to intervene, his instincts urging him to save Zhuo Fan. But he stopped himself. Interfering now would ruin everything he had planned. The exalted double dragons, too, were on edge. Though tempted to act, they held back, their trust in Zhuo Fan compelling them to wait. They hoped, against all odds, that Zhuo Fan would once again defy expectations and survive. Zhuo Fan's brow furrowed deeply. The oppressive heat bore down on him, but he stood firm. His thoughts raced as he strategized, considering every trick and skill he had in his arsenal. "Chower, now!" he shouted. "Yes, father!" Chower spread her wings wide, summoning crackling purple lightning that filled the air. The energy coalesced into a massive 300-meter thunderbird that shot forward with a deafening rumble. Heaven-destroying. "Thunder Phoenix!" Simultaneously, Zhuo Fan activated one of his strongest moves. Wraith Style's third move, Necro Dragon's Screech. The demonic dragon surrounding him morphed into the vaulting Dragon King, its azure flames igniting fiercely. It roared as it charged, merging with the Thunderbird to create a devastating combined attack. The audience leaned forward, their anticipation palpable. The collision of these immense powers was unlike anything they had ever seen. Even Yan Mo, a prodigy in his own right, was left in awe. Ye Lin and Zhuo Fan's clash was undoubtedly the most intense battle in the history of the Double Dragon Gathering. The Western lands had never witnessed such a display of power, and the spectators couldn't wait to see who would emerge victorious. As the three forces met, the resulting explosion was deafening. However, to everyone's shock, Ye Lin's golden flames easily overpowered the combined attack. The Thunderbird and azure flames disintegrated almost instantly, leaving Zhuo Fan's defenses in tatters. Zhuo Fan's face darkened as the full force of Ye Lin's attack bore down on him. His mind raced, searching desperately for a solution. Divine Eye of the Void's fifth stage, Void Wall. Golden halos appeared in Zhuo Fan's right eye, and a spatial barrier formed around him. The barrier seemed to hold, stopping the golden flames in their tracks. For a brief moment, hope flickered in Zhuo Fan's heart. But that hope was short-lived. Cracks began to spiderweb across the barrier, and Zhuo Fan's right eye throbbed with searing pain. Bam! The barrier shattered, and the flames surged forward once more. Though weakened, they were still devastating. Zhuo Fan gritted his teeth, blood streaming from his eye as he activated another technique. Divine Eye of the Void's fourth stage, Space Crusher. The air vibrated violently as the technique activated, but it was no match for the flames. The scorching heat burned through the oscillations, rendering the technique ineffective. Zhuo Fan's heart sank further. With no other options, he braced himself for the inevitable. The flames closed in, their heat threatening to consume him entirely.